Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasevich.
Welcome everyone to Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. I'm Christian Karasevich. This is episode 322 with myself and Sarah Monroe. And we are really excited about this week's show. We're going to be talking about Facebook professional profiles. You probably have, you may have an idea of what these are, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about how you can get started with them. We're going to talk about why you should consider using professional profiles. But with that, I'm going to go and, well, Sarah's already on. I'm going to go and bring on Sarah. Sarah, it's great seeing you. How you doing?
It's great seeing you too. Yes. Yeah. Lots of changes to Facebook to talk about today. Facebook and a little bit of Meta. So for those who really want to know what's going on with the news with Facebook, that's what we're talking about today. And then, of course, we have a fantastic guest, Debra Eckerling, who is a goal-setting expert. So it's perfect timing as we're all looking toward the new year. You know, Christian, you and I keep talking. We need to put together a strategy for the show for next year, too. And so we've got our own personal expert who's going to share her knowledge with all of our viewers as well. So let's bring on Debra.
So Deb, great. Thanks a lot for joining us. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I get to talk about social media and goals today, and I get to hang out with both of you. I mean, banner day.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I got to say, I mean, I think the goal setting thing is so important. And I know we're going to talk with you more about that later. But again, I mean, when you kind of pair these things together, a goal setting doesn't just permeate, you know, it's not just like, oh, hey, I do this in my personal life. I do it in my business. I need it in social media. Like I need goals for just about everything that I'm doing. So
yeah, exactly. And a lot of people say, oh, it's the end of the year, the beginning of the year, set goals. I say set goals all year round, but you know, let's go with the cosmic, everybody's in goal setting mode and, you know, just get the year off to a running start because that's what sets you off for success. And you're right, social media goals, just as important as every other goal you set for your life. So there you go.
Fantastic. So I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. We're going to kick things off. We've got a lot of topics to talk about this week. Primarily, we're going to talk Facebook professional profiles. So Sarah, take it away.
Facebook professional profiles. Yes. So this is something that's rolling out for US users only. It seems like it's rolling out pretty slow, but this is a chance for people to bring that professional side and, drumroll, get some data and insights into what's going on with your profile. So let's just jump right into what some of the screen shares that they've been sharing. So what it is you can actually change your profile status to professional. So they're providing some screenshots because quite honestly, we don't have these screenshots yet to be able to show our own profiles. And what it does is it gives you the chance to have people, so people who discover you will follow you just like a public figure. You may have seen these on like journalist pages and author pages and celebrity pages, right? So you actually follow the folks just as their profile. So this is a switch within your settings. And then anything that you post publicly, those folks who are following you will see the posts, just the way a page works, right? And then from the inside, what that does is it gives you a few chances to, you'll be able to see insights into your audience, who's visiting your profile, data into shares, reactions, comments, and growth. So this should sound very familiar to anybody who manages a page. It's very much the same insights that you're getting on your Facebook pages, but now you'll get it on your Facebook profile. Another piece to it is monetization. So you'll be able to be part of the Facebook Reels Play bonus program. This is invitation only right now for creators, but you'll be able to get some monetization that comes along with that Reels program that Facebook is trying to push. So really what it's going to look like is more like a professional dashboard, and you get to find out, how did my post perform with my friends and my audience and my followers? So it's really kind of interesting what's going on with this. And the next news item with the slides flashing a little bit, we'll talk about what's coming for creators too. But let's stick with Facebook Professional Profile and chat about how we see ourselves using this. I think the three of us have very interesting use cases for Facebook, and the decision of whether or not we turn on that professional piece to it, and how we might use Facebook differently. Because Deb, you are an author, right?
Right.
Christian and I run this show, but we also have other lives where we're in house with people. We also have clients, we have side hustles. So let's talk about how we might use professional profiles.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
So I'll kick it off, since I'm putting you guys on the spot, right? So I'll kick it off. Facebook has really been my personal friends and family for a very long time. From the moment that I signed up for it, I don't even remember when it was.
2006, 2003, 4, 5.
I think I may have been a little bit later. I was probably 2007, 2008, maybe. But from the very beginning, I kind of applied my database management skills. I worked in fundraising. You segment your lists, right? So from the very beginning, I set up, at that time, you could still set up lists. It looks like they've taken that away. I was double checking it this week. So all of my friends are categorized into lists. I have my closest friends and family. That is probably 10 people who see everything I post. I also have some people leaked in from LinkedIn and wanted to follow me on Facebook. So they are tagged as networking, so that they may not see the Christmas party, or they may not see me hanging out with my grad student friends baking cookies, right? They'll see different posts than that. So I have to decide, do I want to flip it? Is Facebook going to be more like LinkedIn, is the question that I'm asking.
That's a very good question. Yeah. And I got to say, the thing that there's a couple things I like. I like the fact that they're going to have that pool. They said 30,000, was it 30,000? I think $30,000 a month that somebody who got invited into like the Reels program could actually earn from this, which I think is like really, really awesome. Obviously, I mean, 30,000 a month, that's pretty nice if you can just do that for posting on Facebook. It does make me wonder, is this going to move to the Twitter Blue type feature where, for the longest time, these platforms have been free to a point, obviously. But now, for example, Twitter has Twitter Blue, and it's a service where you pay like $3 a month to get access to certain features, turning off ads, things like that. YouTube has obviously had this for a while. Is Facebook going to are they kind of moving in that direction? I guess that's what I'm wondering with the professional mode. I don't know, Sarah. I think I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, I think like people will either choose to use a page or a profile. This is basically kind of blurring that line a little bit.
It is. Let's before anybody gets too excited about that 30K, remember, it's for invite only. It's for Reels. Really, let's be honest about this Reels program, right? It's to get TikTok creators onto Facebook, really. So you get paid for your engagement. So you have to have really high-end content. You probably have to post very consistently to get their attention. And then you can start getting some of this monetization. Can you get some money for for Reels that may go viral a little bit? Yeah. But that 30K is going to be for people who do this all day, every day.
Yeah.
Reels all day, every day.
I know, right? So I guess like right now, I guess the question is like, can I turn this off, Sarah? If I enable it, can I turn it off?
I don't know. They haven't really said that. But let's ask Deb. Deb, you are an author. You're a book author, right? So you have a book to promote. You probably have I haven't looked at what your friend count is on Facebook, but you probably have a lot of friends who could use your professional services, right? And you don't want to be overly promotional when it comes to that on Facebook. But how about you tell us how you see this working out?
Well, I think you made a really good point when you're talking about, is it blurring the LinkedIn line? Because really, that's let's face it, that's what Facebook does. It finds the best features of other platforms and finds a way to integrate it. And I've been on Facebook probably since 2005, 2006. I like to say that I came on the social media bandwagon like at the end of the pioneers, right before it became mainstream. And so I started out, so I've got my Write On Online, which is my community for writers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. It started out as a page, and then all the pages got merged. It started out as a group, and then all the groups got merged into pages, and then groups came back again years and years later. But at the time that I started, everything was new, and I was friending all the people who were joining my Write On community, because I was always like, you put something out to the universe, you want it to be professional because it could find you later. So I think one good thing that professional mode will do is give people that LinkedIn flair. Because when I go to networking events, whenever I meet new people, the first place I go to look for them is LinkedIn, because a lot of people will connect with you on LinkedIn, but they want to keep Facebook just for friends and family, for the parties, for the fun times. And yes, you do need to show your personality on all of the social, because that's what gets you clients, right? Gets you readers.
Yeah.
They want to get to know you. So this is definitely an opportunity to embrace more people. Now I have, I think, close to 4,000. I have close to 4,000 friends on Facebook. On Facebook. My Write On Online page has about 10,000, and the Deb Method page, which is the one that when I rebranded myself as my system a couple years ago, because I would get this, oh, Write On Online, you just work with writers, right? No, I work with people who want to embrace change and make new plans. And when I rebranded as my system, I started Deb Method page, and that's only like 500 people, which it's still growing and it's interactive. But yes, so my professional profile is like in the middle of the interaction between my pages. And if you're an author, it's perfect, because you want to be sharing your news. And especially for me in December this month, I've been like all over everywhere, getting people hyped up for the year. And it would be great to do more, get more interaction, be more out there without being over too much. But I don't think I've ever been accused of being too little.
So how do you I'm just thinking, I have a friend right now who's an author, right? And I get this question from everybody I know who's a consultant too, or they are their brand, right? They're the face of their agency. Is how much do you promote the Deb Method or your writer's page to your personal page, knowing that your personal page has, it sounds like, a lot of professional connections there? So we all wonder, there may not be a right answer, but how do you manage this?
Well, it's in whether or not you go professional mode, you want a page for your business regardless, and that's really, I think, more broadcasting, where your groups are more community. And so making your profile professional is probably bridging the gap. Personally, I don't think I promote myself enough. But I do share a lot of what's happening, because as an author, as a corporate consultant, as a coach, I want to be helping people, because that's, the whole know, like, and trust factor. I mean, how many, it has to be mentioned on every single show. So I did it, and we can move on from there. But that's what it is. People work with people they like. And yes, if you want to let more people into your life in a professional capacity, on Facebook, this really is the solution. And you can still just tag your friends for the things that are personal. But then again, once anything's out there, it's out there. So how personal do you want to be? It's the other thing you have to decide.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
And I think we've got a comment about how to set it up. And so I'm trying not to be rude, but I'm also trying to see if I have the setting yet.
I got to say, I don't have it. I checked. I did not have it. It's in the Facebook mobile app, or it should be.
Okay. So we'll check in, and we'll just keep checking in as we go through the show today and see if the setting comes up, since we're talking about it, right? So,
well, and they did start it in the I think it's the EMEA region. So so I don't think So they said they're going to a limited number of profiles in the U.S. Sorry, and they're going to begin rolling it out in the EMEA next year. They said. So. Here's the thing, like you may be fortunate to get it, and you should see some sort of prompt. I mean, I guarantee you're going to see a prompt on Facebook that will pop up asking you to, convert. But right now, they're not, like, it's very limited audience right now. I don't know of very many people at all that actually have this.
Right. I'm just going to scan through, but I am going to say there have been a couple of blips that I've had where my personal account has had the ability to schedule posts. And there has been a moment in time, I think it lasted about a day, where I actually saw insights on my personal posts. I'm like, what happened? I thought I was in sort of this blurry brain fog thinking, wait, this is my personal page. What's going on? So there may have been a few of us who have seen this in the testing mode. It has to be like a year and a half ago that this happened for me. And I think the post scheduling happened the last time I did a live in-person workshop on Facebook in 2019. So this thing has been churning in the background, I think, for a long time. And now really rolling it out with this creator mode, the creation of Reels. Let's remember, Reels are only available for personal profiles right now. So this is a way, again, for Facebook to get those content creators onto their platform, and they're throwing a ton of money at it to have it happen.
I got to say this. I think I'm still going to go back to my prediction. My prediction is that they're trying to capture that LinkedIn audience, because when you kind of think about it like this, you both mentioned this. I mean, we set up a Facebook profile. A lot of times that's friends and family, close friends and family, or people that we work with, but we've never met IRL. So we have that side of things. And then we have a Facebook page. If you're an author, for example, you got an author page. If you're a business, you got a business page. And it's like, and what a lot of people would do is they would go to their Facebook page. They would go to their Facebook page, share something about their business, and then share it back to their profile. In this case, I see this as like an intermediate step, I guess, where, people can have that profile that is like, where you could make a totally hidden profile, basically. That's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to have people be able to make hidden profiles. And then with this will be the public perception profile that you have, is what I kind of see it as being. I think at some point they're going to make some, basically something to bridge the gap versus an on-off switch.
Right. So you're suggesting there'll be Finstas, but on Facebook? The fake Instagrams?
Yes. Actually, yes. That's a good one. Yes. That's what I think is going to end up happening with this. But again, they need some of that functionality. I will say this. If they decide they want to charge for this feature, get paid for your Reels, for example, like that's understandable. If you're invited, grow your audience, great. See what's working. They give you access to insights. I wouldn't pay for that. There's going to have to be something else. And I think this is just going to be the start of whatever that something else is going to be in 2022. And I think it's going to probably be like ads and things like that. So that's my guess. Anything else you want to add on this, Sarah, that we didn't talk about?
No, I think it's going to be really interesting to see who uses it. I have to say, for some of my friends I know who have smaller pages for their, like an author page, or they are really well known as a consultant, I can see them merging their pages and just making it one. And you can control who you post to. So you can still keep posting to your friends and family, And remember, Facebook still has some baked in lists. So you can tag people as close friends and family and things like that, so that you can just post to them. But everything on the internet is open. You got to remember that anybody can screenshot things and share them, right? So it's just a matter of how accessible are you going to be, right?
I have two quick questions for both of you. So I think the first one is going to be just about like, will you use this? So will you convert immediately, or is it going to, like, just real quick answer, yes or no? Sarah, will you convert? Or are you like,
No,
yeah, it needs some more time?
not immediately, but I have to say I might, given that I'm curious about insights. I'm curious about the insights that I would see about my audience, my profile audience, like for instance, watching the show or engaging with a fundraiser that I put together or reading something that I think is important. I think that if I get really data geeky about my profile, I might turn it on.
Okay. Deb, what do you think?
The way I use Facebook right now, it's like it's already professional mode. So I would also be curious about insights to see if it makes any difference. But it almost feels like on LinkedIn, it's the company pages are secondary to the profiles, and on Facebook, it's the opposite. So it will be very interesting to see what comes out of it. But I'll probably play.
Right.
Cool. And
now, that said, Deb, if LinkedIn gives us data on our posts, on our profiles, that would be awesome.
Right. Oh, you mean other than just views and likes and whatever? Yes. That would be great to have more of that information, because that I always, and I love Facebook, but LinkedIn is really my first go-to of everything, because that's where you meet that when you're using your work for business, but especially for those side hustlers and authors and with the passion project, why not use the professional mode to really build your audience and get some excitement going for what you're creating?
Very cool. And then my last question for both of you on this is, do you think the posting process is, I mean, the trick here is you got to make it, seamless. Like, so because you can still make things, for friends and family versus professional mode for Facebook professional profiles. Do you think that how would you envision that working when you go to post something? Like, are you going to have to go through like placing a food order and go through like 5 options? Or do you think Facebook should automatically kind of figure out what kinds of things you're going to be posting at that time?
Oh, Christian, this shows how you don't know the magic of the segmented friends list. So I do it every post. I do it all the time.
You take the time.
I've always done it. I've always done it since the start of Facebook. There are times where I post things only for myself too. That I want to come up in memories. I love Facebook memories.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have to say, Apple has really known me about my photo memories and has been really crushing it as far as offering that to me. But I do it all the time. I pick my custom audiences for a lot of Facebook posts every single day.
Okay. Deb, what do you think? Or are you doing the same thing?
Yeah, for me, I don't see much of a change, but again, I could see the purposes of segmenting to different people or different audiences, readers of this book, or even if you've got events coming up, and that way you can segment the other people you're going to be at the events with, so you're sharing the information together.
Okay.
Much like we use Twitter lists to just connect with people revolving around a certain topic or event. That would be fun.
Fantastic. So I got to say, I would talk about this for, we'll talk with you about goal setting in a bit, but this comes down to the same thing. You need to have a strategy when you're going to use any of these features. And if you're already kind of in the middle of things and you're going to have, it may require taking some time and actually putting together a loose strategy, I think, to how you want Facebook professionals to work, and like making sure that, it doesn't mean like, oh, I got to like post like every, second, for example. I got to be quick with it. I want to be deliberate about what I'm posting. And so it does mean I may need to slow down, build that strategy, and then implement that strategy if I'm not seeing the results. So fantastic. I'm looking forward to this. Again, likely going to be rolling out in the EMEA region in 2022 as well. Started rolling out a little bit here in the US. So Sarah, turning it back over to you. Where do we go from here?
Well, we're going to stick with Facebook a little bit because they are rolling out even more tools for creators to help them. So the first one is comment moderation and creator support. So these are for professional profiles, but then also people who are kind of tagged as creators. So you may have that personal page, right? So you're not a profile anymore, you're a page, right? So it's giving you more comment moderation and creator support. You'll be able to block users more easily, hide comments, have keyword blocking. So those of us who manage pages, these words should be very familiar to you because we've been able to do it with pages for a long time. So now it's coming into profile, first with creator profiles. So they're going to also have some tools for moderation assistance, tools for Facebook Live too, which is great. Christian, it'll be interesting to see if we can handle any of these new tools as we broadcast Facebook Live through StreamYard, right?
Yes.
A big thing is live chat support. So we have been wanting this forever, right, people? We've wanted Facebook Live chat support. So starting in English, and right now, just in the US, creators can have live chat support to talk about their payouts, the Reels program, things like that. Within the mobile app, there is supposedly a live chat support if you get locked out of your Facebook account. Haven't seen any chatter about it yet, but that seems to be coming, and hopefully maybe it'll be there for people who are advertising. I know some people who are having some issues with advertising right now, and maybe that will come up too as the live chat support. You can always contact them again. If you're running ads, they seem to be more responsive. They're also running issuing tools. They're calling it Safety School. So how to be safe online and using Facebook. The other piece is that they're creating a creator studio inspiration hub. So this is going to give you a chance to track trends, hashtags, regional trends, content trends to help you come up with creation ideas. And Christian, I think that's the next slide with that little yellow box with so this is coming. Yep. So this is coming into Creator Studio. Now, I know this sounds completely confusing, right? Because we've talked about personal profiles and pages and all these other places, right? So this is going to be within Creator Studio. So I've been a long time. I love Creator Studio. I love that it's simple and clean and I can see things. So what's nice is that they're bringing in more insights into it. Hopefully it'll be less buggy, and hopefully less buggy than Business Suite is, because I'm having a lot of issues with Business Suite since they flipped the switch on Insights going to Business Suite. But anyway, you'll be able to track what's trending and maybe hop onto a trend. It's still debatable whether or not hashtags are a value on Facebook, but you will be able to follow some hashtags. Looks a lot like trending topics on Twitter, but it's definitely there to help people find different content. And what's interesting, I read a blog post about this from Social Media Today, and they mentioned CrowdTangle. And I don't know about you three, but I've never heard about CrowdTangle. And I guess it's the same kind of trending insights that Facebook offers to journalists. Yes. So, Christian, if you know about it, how about you hop in and give us a...
Well, I mean, basically it was an acquisition. So it was something that that Facebook basically bought a few years ago. And a lot of big organizations use it. Basically, it's like, it's almost like having like a TweetDeck. So it's like TweetDeck, but it's going to help you with your Facebook accounts, like to help you really stay on top of your brand. So it's not really, I would say it's not necessarily available to the public like it was, and then they took it away. So so you can check that out at crowdtangle.com actually.
Okay.
So I got to say though, going back to what you were saying, you were talking about like, trend insights and things like that. Like, I think that's super important information to help bring that information to people. For the most part though, if you're a seasoned veteran, I guess, in the digital marketing space, you're already using RSS feeds and things like that to already bring a lot of that information to you. In this case, Facebook's just putting it in, a place that hopefully people would go and use, Creator Studio. It reminds me a lot of like Twitter, for example. If I go on Twitter, it's pulling up either worldwide trends or like locations or things that people are talking about at the moment, breaking news and whatnot. And, with adding this feature into Creator Studio, if, I think they're expecting people to spend more time inside of Creator Studio. So I don't know. I'm not entirely sold on the idea of having, I think it's great to have all this information. I just don't think that it applies to a lot of people. That's my big thing. Like, if I'm a marketer, for example, I'm not going to go look at like what's going on in the world necessarily if I'm focusing on, very specific niches and things like that. So,
but activists,
yeah,
writers, right, Deb?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is hashtags aren't used a lot on Facebook, and that's where some of the insights seem to be coming from. But I think if you're activists, if you are in any kind of nonprofit space and working around any trending topic, that might be legislative, it might be just the time of year, like the giving season or something like that, or an awareness month, an awareness campaign, it would be really helpful because you can target regionally too. Just like on Twitter, you can target your regional hashtags.
Yeah.
Deb, do you use hashtags on Facebook?
I do, just because I like to. I mean, there are certain things like, goals that I tag with almost everything. And I tag my book and my publisher just to keep everything together. I started doing a goal of the day as part of one of my campaigns. And why not? Sure, probably other people use it. But for me, if anybody looks up the things that I talk about, I do it more like as a safety net, better to have it out there in the universe.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I remember researching this years and years ago when I was still working at a web agency, and we were kind of laughing about hashtags on Facebook, and it sort of went away because Facebook invested a lot more money into search. And I've noticed recently, probably over the last year, that Facebook search isn't as good as it used to be. That maybe there's less attention to it. Maybe there's more attention to this hashtag insight thing that they're doing. But it's interesting to see the ebb and flow of things.
And here's the thing. You should still use hashtags. I think we always tell people, like, use a branded hashtag for your business, 1 to 2 of those. So at least one for your branded, hashtag for your business, something that you can easily go back. If somebody's like, hey, do you have a body of work you can share? Send them the link to the hashtag. They can see everything that's going on. They can see engagement, things like that, but also share something that is topical related. So like, for example, like Deb, as you mentioned, like goal setting, for example, things like that. And then share might be like a step up from your branded hashtag, and then share one hashtag that is just totally broad, because then that way it will help you get, introduced into some of those conversations.
Right. Well, listen, we want to make sure we have enough time to have question and answer with Deb about her expertise in goal setting. So let's run a little faster through the news. Speaking of, hashtags, what's old is new again kind of thing. Live stream, Facebook live stream is actually rolling out some new tools too. They're going to have some more simplified navigation, make it a little easier to manage comments and things, but they're also going to add some links. You'll be able to add links and they'll be visible in your live stream. Also new tools, polls that will be coming up, and their 2019 feature of having guests in your stream is back. So I think now you can have up to 4. So that's putting Facebook a little further ahead in live streaming than, say, TikTok and Instagram. And I think those, you can only have 2, something like that. But anyway, Facebook Live is expanding. You'll be able to see going live in stories. There'll be badges. There's something called Front Row that's going to start. So anyway, we'll link all of the information about this blog post that has every single detail in it, direct from Meta, in our comments, and then it'll also be in the blog post that will go out over the weekend. So definitely take if you are a Facebook Live person, it's a great synopsis of what's coming and what you'll be able to do for audience engagement. Another piece, staying in the Meta family of apps, Instagram, this made a lot of news last week, is chronological feed potentially coming back in first quarter of 2022. We don't have much about it. We do have people higher ups at Instagram saying that this is going to happen. So remember, way back in 2016, we used to have our chronological feeds. But what Instagram is now saying is that so many people are following so many accounts that you won't be able to see everything. So there is going to be, the algorithm isn't going anywhere. You just may be able to select favorites and curate your feed a little bit more so that you see more from those that you want to see things from and less from those you don't. And my hope is that there'll be less suggested posts, because I'm getting a little fed up with all the suggested posts. But anyway, it's not going to be a full algorithmic conversion, so don't hold your hopes out for that. It is coming in 2022. Don't panic is my word of advice for that. Some other Instagram news, Reels is going to add visual replies to comments. It's kind of going to be a sticker that jumps up. And I think this is active now. I think I've seen it in a few Reels already. The other piece is Facebook and Instagram are going to give you a year in review. So they've brought this back. If anybody else remembers these things, that you used to be able to see your year on Facebook. So what Facebook is calling it is Your Year Together. And IG is calling it playback. So it's basically showing you highlights of your time on both platforms. It looks like Facebook is mostly going to be stories, your stories archive. So if you don't post a lot of stories, you may not have much to this, but it seems like there's a different piece to it. Honestly, I haven't looked to see what it's actually going to provide me, but it is supposed to give you a year together with your friends and your feelings and your posts and your places and all of that. So for those people who did get out in 2021. Next piece, YouTube. We talk about YouTube in Creator Insider videos all the time. They've come out with another great video about how to edit your auto chapter descriptions. So anybody who's using those auto chapters, this is a way for you to change those up a little bit. You can add some links. The creepy piece of this news is that YouTube will be adding places. Like if we mention a place in this video, YouTube will automatically suggest that place as a link in the description or put it in the description. I'm not real clear about how this functionality is going to work out, but it is a little creepy that it's listening and knowing that we say a place name and may suggest that. Another piece, they're going to launch collections for subscriptions. So if you subscribe to a lot of channels and you want to say collect them into sort of your news channels and your travel channels and your food channels, you'll be able to sort of sort your channel subscriptions so that you see them by topic. And they are providing more guidance for creators into policy violations. I know this sounds like a minor thing for most of us, but for any YouTube creator who's had a violation or something is flagged, their content is flagged and they don't know why and they can't really get answers, this is a new place for them to learn more and maybe dive in a little bit into what's going on. And then the blog post will also have some news about TikTok launching a sellers app in Indonesia, replay on Twitter Spaces, and then WhatsApp is going to have some auto delete functionality. So like I said, we're going to have all of that in our show notes on the blog.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of a lot of news there. I got to say, the piece out of what all you just went over that I'm most excited about, I like the YouTube aspect. I like the fact that, for example, one thing I think I really like about it is the fact that and this kind of goes, this is like a theme, right? Comes back to, if you started, for example, without a strategy, now you kind of have to figure out how to unravel things, right? And so if
Mhm.
you're on YouTube and you've subscribed to a lot of channels, at some point, you've got to create smaller buckets, basically easier categories to be able to filter those people. So,
Mhm.
so I like the idea they're going to do that. They're also adding in, as you mentioned, the piece about the location. Like that's also important because a lot of times what people will do is they will put a link to something. This makes a lot of sense if I'm Google and I own YouTube, because I could tie into Google Maps data. I could tie into
Yep.
Google search,
Yep.
so it means that people are going to have to put links in their descriptions as much. It's going to help clean up all that information. And then the third piece I think that's also going to be important is those auto chapters they were creating as well, because now
Mhm.
you're going to be able to go and edit those. Going back to exactly what you and I talked about at one point, Sarah, on a past episode, which is the
Mhm.
fact that you can go into your YouTube channel. You can have them generate those auto chapter markers for you within your YouTube video settings, and then
Yep.
you can learn what they pick and then fix them on your own.
Right.
So, yeah,
Unless you tag your video as being made for kids, because a lot of
right.
the videos that I work with are made for kids and you don't get any of this. So sorry.
Very cool. So, Deb, anything else you want to add on this?
Uh, I would say this is what I would add. That's a lot of information for 1 week, for a month, let alone a week. There's a lot of things going on. So Goal Deb says, don't overwhelm yourself. Take one piece of content, take one platform at a time, absorb it, and see what you can learn from it, what you can use from it. And just don't go like, too many things, because you talk about goal setting. That's what stops people from achieving their goals during like this spin cycle in their head. Don't do that. Say whichever one of these is your primary, go learn, see what's going to work for you, then go on to the next one. But don't try and absorb all this at once, because then your head will explode and no one wants that.
Right.
Excellent point. Nope. I
No
think
exploding
that's a great
heads.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that leads right into the first question that we wanted to talk to you, Deb, about. And Christian mentioned it in talking about YouTube strategy, right? Strategy can really relates to goal setting. So with this age of social media, with all of this stuff coming to us, really we all know that goal setting is important. So what is your approach to goal setting?
The big overall big
Big,
picture
big, big.
of it is this: you can't get what you want unless you know what you want. So the most important part of setting goals or strategy or whatever we're calling it today is to think about your big picture. When you think of the life you want for your business, when you think of what you want to create for social media, when you're thinking about your mission, what you want to bring out into the world, the way you help others, your product, your services, your social presence, what does that look like for you? And it really starts from there. You think of what your end result, and everything's different, and not really, than it was 2 years ago. You still make goals, but maybe what it looks like, the way it manifests itself, is a little bit differently. But think about, in your ideal world, who are you? What are you the go-to for? What is your topic? What is your industry? And then think about ways in which you can bring as much of you as possible into it, and then you can start figuring out the strategy behind it. But look big picture. Are you the go-to in this? Did you create the product for that? Why are you using social media? What are you doing? What are you using social media for? To educate, to entertain, to inform, probably all the above. So start there, and also think about what content works best for you. Are you a video person? Or are you an audio person? Do you like doing graphics? That all fits into your social media strategy, because the things that really speak to you, you will do more of. So do those.
Right. I really like bring as much of you into this as you can. And so let's ask an even bigger question, beyond social media, just goal setting social media is one piece of what we do, right? But goal setting, the big hairy question, right? You've created a method called the Deb method, right? And so let's talk concrete. How does the Deb method work for goal setting? What you created this great tool. How can we use that?
Well, so Deb, it's foundational. So it starts with, so Deb stands for determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. And it's through these 3 phases that you can figure out what you want and how to get it. So D, determine your mission, starts with that visualization piece. And from there, look at where you are now, write your current bio, and then your future bio. Where do you want to be? So it really starts with the dream aspect. Where are you and what drives you? And from there, you can write your mission statement. So what is it that you do that makes you unique, that excites you? Because again, you'll do more of the things that you love, right? So you have what you do, or what you love, what you do, and how you help. So I use my background, systems, book, workshops, communities to help as many people as possible figure out what they want and how to get it so they can live a happier, more fulfilled life and in turn help others. So my mission statement, your mission statement is probably going to be huge, which is fine. And then from there you go to the motto. So what 3 to 5 word phrase really embodies all that you are about? So mine is goal setting simplified. So everything that I create falls under that banner. So once you have the where you want to be, where you are, and your ideals about everything, then you can go into explore your options to figure out, okay, this is what I want. So how am I going to make it happen? And explore your options. Do I want to start or build a business, change careers, write a book, become a known expert? What is it? What is the thing that's going to get me to that dream? And so that's the research phase where you can look at, and it's good for social media too, because think about it. I want to be the go-to in X. Wonderful. I can't do all the social media at once because again, head exploding bad. But what makes the most sense for me for what I'm bringing out into the world? So explore your options. Maybe it's thinking, do I start a YouTube channel? Do I work on a blog post series that will eventually be a book? What is it? So you do the legwork there. And then once you set your goals, and they should be for personal and professional, because if your personal life is good, it impacts your professional life in a positive way, and vice versa. Also, if your professional life isn't so great, it's going to impact your personal life. So what can you do? It's going to make you happy, bring that good energy that impacts both. So figure out your goals, then you brainstorm your path, write everything down, divide, conquer, make a plan, and boom, that easy.
Just like that. What do you want to be? Right. So I like how you're saying this is really personal too. I know that you work with a lot of professionals and businesses and nonprofits in goal setting, but I don't think I've heard anybody talk about what is your own personal motto, right? What is it that you want to bring into the world, your mission, and then what is your motto to follow?
Well, the other reason that I love the motto is shiny object syndrome. As you are going through your journey to achieve your goals, you're going to get distractions from everywhere. And when you have a motto, things that just something short and snappy as your guiding post, when opportunities come your way, you're better able to evaluate whether they will work for you. Is this in line? Yes, great. Is this in line with my mission, my motto? No. Will it benefit me in another way? Yes, great. If it won't, then, when you say yes to something that's not in alignment with who you are, you're saying no to yourself. And you're also taking the opportunity for someone who it would be in alignment for to say yes. So be true to yourself and go forth with your compass in hand. And that way, everything that you're doing is going to be building.
Right. I know we have this term in the nonprofit sector. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called mission creep, right? You sort of think, okay, this is the cause du jour, right? How can we get into this trend, or should we refocus what we're doing programmatically? And what you're saying too is do that in your personal life. If this doesn't fit with what you do and what you want to do, something else will come along.
Exactly. And that's really why goals fail. People overthink them, they underthink them. They do not take the time to set the foundation, which is why I'm like, yes, foundation. Mission is everything. Motto is everything. Because when you have that as your springboard, everything grows from there. If you're saying, oh, I just want to make a lot of money, it will make me happy. Well, okay. But are you fulfilled? Are you going to be really driving home what you believe in, your message to the world? If you don't believe in it, no. And then you won't make the money. So figure out what you want, what that looks like for you. And with that drive behind it, anything is possible. It might, hey, I feel like this is the the bottom of the label warning. May take longer than expected, but also you get out of things what you put into it. So maybe the timing isn't right. When I think about everything that I did, so my book, Your Goal Guide, came out in January 2020, and the purpose is to help people embrace change, whether it's by choice or by circumstance, 6 weeks before everybody got hit by change by circumstance. So when I think of everything that had to happen for my book to come out at that exact time, it's like mind-blowing. So be patient, but also be true to yourself, because that's when you're true to yourself, what you love, that energy will get everybody excited.
This is excellent information. I mean, I like learning about the Deb method, and just I gotta say, I love the quote you said. When you say yes to something that isn't in alignment with who you are, you're saying no to yourself. And I mean that just was like mind blowing. Just because, no, seriously, because a lot of people, I mean, they, we always say like yes, yes, yes to all these different things, and we wonder, well, why am I not in this position, or why am I not in that position? Because a lot of times you're saying yes to like everything, and you're not, like, if you really focus. I mean, we always say this like all the time, like it's all about like distilling everything down to something where you're only focusing on like the things that like interest you. For example, the things you're good at. Like, why would you like? It's okay to struggle at things, but if you have to struggle the whole time at something, maybe that's not the right thing for you. And you need to, reverse course in this case. And we talked about this at the beginning. We talked about strategy. We talked about having a plan on things. We talked about, posting strategy, goal setting. It's all like the foundation is key to all of this, as you mentioned. And I think that's like super important, that I hope everybody who's watching, or listening over on Twitter Spaces, like just takes to heart. So, Sarah, do we have any other questions for Deb?
We do. We have 2 quick questions. One is timing. And Deb, I think you've already answered this. You said goal setting can happen any time of year, right? Right now, people may be thinking New Year's resolutions, but what do you have to say about timing?
Well, so I start the new year in December, so the content that I do, so I have I lead the Gold Chat Twitter chat on Sunday nights. I host Gold Chat Live on Mondays, and then on Thursdays, they magically become episodes of the Deb Show podcast. But every month for my content, I theme it out. So I do beginning of the year content in December, and I also do beginning of the year content in January. And then and then February, March. So I like to theme up every month. But in answer to your question, anytime is the perfect time to take a step back and look at your goals and make new plans. Or if this big change comes into your life, take a step back, look at the things, and then make a plan. So you can refresh and reboot every month, every quarter, every 6 months, every year, whatever it takes. And this is, I think, a social media thing. You do have to give things time. So as long as you give yourself this time to figure out your foundation, and then you take, okay, let's do these goals for 3 months, 6 months, and see what's working out. And then again, when you have your motto as your guidepost, when opportunities come along, you can be open to them if they're in alignment, if you know what alignment is for you.
Mm-hmm. That's terrific. And just to wrap up this conversation, ghost living is hard for a lot of people. What are just three things? I think we can pull 90 things from what you've said in the last few minutes. But sort of those three top things that people can do.
Okay, well, first thing I want you to do is to take a few minutes and visualize, if anything were possible, because pretty much it is, what would you do? And then think about how you can incorporate it in your life. And even if it's an hour a week that you're working on a book, or you're starting a side hustle, or even a fun social page for a blog. But what is one thing that you can do that you can look forward to that's going to excite you? And then create some sort of visual representation. You want to create a podcast? Mock up what your podcast is going to look like. You want to do a video show? You want to write a book? Mock up your book cover and just put it somewhere where you can see it. So first thing is to give yourself permission to dream. Second step is to create something to look at as your prize that you're working towards. And then the other thing is to just schedule time to work on it. So get out that electronic calendar and schedule an ongoing appointment once a week, even if it's like an hour once a week, even if it's a half an hour once a week, twice a week. That is your time to work towards your goals and to create the thing that's going to make you happy, that you can build, that's going to get you where you want to go.
I gotta say that is excellent advice, and I mean, I think like for me, Sarah, I think the key thing I like there is that whole put an appointment on your on your calendar, like make an appointment with yourself. And for example, let's say Sarah was a customer of mine and I was like chatting with her, and she's like, oh, can you meet at this time or something? I don't have to be like, well, no, I'm going to work on my super secret private project. I could either tell her, hey, Sarah, no, you know what? I've actually just started this new initiative, this thing, I'm really kind of wanting to do. And so in a way that can also help you, you can build a bit of a support system. But at the same time, I also could just be like, hey, what, Sarah, I can't meet at that time. I got something I'm working on. And then you could totally leave it under wraps if you want to. But the key thing is put it on your calendar. And I think what's going to end up happening, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Deb, even if it's 30 minutes, once you get started, I think it's going to energize you the more you start to dig into it. And you're going to get even more excited about it. You're like, that 30 minutes is going to be like 1 hour. And then you're going to be like, what? I don't want to miss that 1 hour that I get once a day or once a week, for example.
Exactly. That is the entire point. And again, it's all about setting yourself up for success. So look at when you're making your appointments for the week, it's great to have an ongoing appointment. This is the rule. If you have to move the appointment, you just can't delete it. So, and have it as part of your routine that you're going to spend this amount of time, and a lot of people will say, oh, you need to work on these projects every day. No, we're busy. Think about your project every day, but put in the time when you can commit to it and do it consistently, because that's the way you're going to grow whatever it is that you're building.
Right. I see it as keeping the promise to yourself.
Exactly.
Right. Your promise that you're putting together these goals. This is the promise to yourself to make change. Right?
Yes. Goal setting is really all about choosing yourself, saying, this is what I want. And it can be something you're creating for a big part of your life, or it could be a little thing. It could be a big project. It could be a lifestyle change. But whatever it is, you are choosing you, and that's to be celebrated all the time. Oh, and one other piece of it. When you do the appointments, make a note of what you accomplished each time. So as the process, if it's taking longer than you wanted to, you could be like, I'm not getting anywhere. But then you look back at your calendar and you look at your notes and say, ooh, I am getting somewhere. Look at all the work, all the energy, all the effort I put in. It is building something, and that will energize you to move even forward, even faster.
And for those of you, by the way, if you want a calendar tool, for example, if you've never been using a calendar, For example, if you have an iOS device, it has a calendar on it. So there's a whole calendar app. Yeah, it also integrates with like applications like Google Calendar, for example. You could set those up. Yeah. So, Deb, by the way, what we'll do is I need to get a link to your podcast. We'll put that in the show notes. But Sarah, I do want to just make sure we talk about our tool of the week, by the way, real quick.
Well, the tool of the week, I'm going to add to the tool of the week. I'm going to add this podcast because I think I need to listen to Deb's podcast too. But the tool of the week is actually Deb's book, Your Goal Guide, that we're recommending. This is, as she said, this is a great time of year. Debcember, I love it. Debcember, to really make these promises to yourself and start putting together what is it that you want to do? Where do you want to go? What's your motto? I have to say, I'm going to make my own motto for sure, and follow some of Deb's advice on goal setting.
Definitely. And by the way, you can check out Deb's book, socialchefs.com/goal guide. So this has been amazing. I got to say, I'm ready to like go sit down and start planning some goals for 2022. So this is really
excellent. Good. Where are my gold stars? There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because you chose yourself and you chose yourself and you get a gold star. And so the other thing that I want to add is, so if you're reading my book, please join the Your Goal Guide Facebook group. That way you can share your journey and ask questions, but I'm also accessible. So you can follow me at the Deb Method everywhere. And the debmethod.com/blog has my show recaps. And if you go to debcember.com, you can learn more about my coaching. And the debshow.com is links to my podcast.
Very cool. We'll make sure we put all that in the show notes. So make sure you go and connect with Deb, by the way, again, and check out her book. So fantastic. So Sarah, what's the best place for people to get in touch with you?
Best place to find me is at Sarah Monroe VT, across same handle across social media. If you are connecting me on LinkedIn or Facebook, drop a message to let me know that you found me on Social Chatter, and I'd be happy to connect.
Fantastic. And I love the whole point, put a note in there, because again, it's also showing you go that extra step. And how long does that take? What does that take? Like 5-10 seconds? Write out just a quick note versus like, hey, I just sent you a message and you really may not know me, or maybe you recognize me from the show, but you have to, you need to jog the person's memory. Yeah. So with that, I'm Christian Karasevich at Social Chefs across all the social platforms. I just have a couple of quick wrap up items for you. And that's going to be the fact that we have a blog post recap that Sarah was alluding to, socialchefs.com/SC322. That's going to go out over the weekend. You'll be able to go and check out the video, all the resources, all the other social media news we also talked about. You'll be able to find Deb's podcast and pretty much and her book and everything else. We're also going to have another show next Thursday, December 23rd, getting close to the holidays. So I know a lot of you are going to go into holiday mode, but we hope you'll join us for that show. But with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a fantastic episode. Thanks a lot, Deb, for being this week's guest and for talking about the importance of goal setting, especially as people head into the end of the year and moving into 2022. So thanks a lot.
Well, thank you for having me, and good luck with your goals. I'm going to be watching you.
It's like Santa Claus. So you're kind of like Santa Claus, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.